Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast, where we dive into the wild world of wrestling, the only sport where threatening a child can make you the most beloved face in the business. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of wrestling storylines, analyze jaw-dropping matches, and speculate wildly on who's going to turn heel next. Get ready for a ringside seat to the excitement and absurdity of wrestling with us every week.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 11 of the Group Chat Wrestling Podcast. I'm your main host Mike. It's Mike GWP on Twitter. This week we got some special guests with us that a lot of you have been asking for, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves now.
Hello, I'm MJ from the Waffly Bollocks podcast. Hi.
And I'm Sarah, aka Awfully Waffly from the Waffly Bollocks podcast.
To have you with us. I'm Dan, Damwell KC on Twitter, and I've had a shit weekend because I support Wolves.
I'm Dov GWP on Twitter, and I've had a shit weekend because I support Borough.
I'm Andy, Liverpool won, so that's good. But I'm in Twitter jail because Coachman is a fucking grass.
Just the worst. He lives up to his namesake, doesn't he? He kisses Vince McMahon's ass, literally and figuratively, and then now he's just kissing.
What even happened, Andy? I wasn't on Twitter.
I literally replied to one of his posts where he was talking about how he loves JD and something like that. Anyway, he said JD's right. The TV deal could be bad. Why does Tony not saying it? And then so I was like, I said, I thought you were dead. I wish I still thought that. And then he bought me and got banned for a week.
Fucking hell.
Well, you can be the most racist, horrible scumbag on the planet, and Elon's fucking there going, no, you're fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. But you just say, oh, I thought you were dead, and apparently that's the worst sin on the planet. Like, so yeah, I'm just looking through the bars now at the moment, watching you get some bait on your tweets.
I just love how people like JD and Coach and whoever think they know better than the people actually involved in the negotiations and stuff. Like, you're just assuming these things. Like, you don't know fuck all about fuck all. And
No, yeah, it's nuts. Like, has he ever had a position? I'm talking about JD here, by the way.
yeah,
Has he ever had a position? He knows exactly how TV rights deals work and how much money goes into what here and what it means. And does he also not realize that the cable industry is dying? So he can wax lyrical about ratings and demos and attendance, but he doesn't know anything about it. Like, he has absolutely fuck all knowledge.
No, he does.
Yeah.
He was involved in the.
He was
involved. He was involved in the deal with the TV companies to make the new Willy Wonka film because he's like an Oompa Loompa. He's about fucking 4 foot, isn't he?
You could step on him and you wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
Fucking prick.
Squish him.
Little bellend.
Yeah, it's just he is a punter, like any one of us are. He doesn't know any better than anyone else, and yeah. But I don't know. Did you see Sean Ross Sapp going in on him earlier this week?
Yes.
I did. Yeah, it was great. And then he started backtracking, started deleting tweets, and then fucking I seen Dax winning on him, and then he's like, whoa. I'll happily meet you, Dax. I'll buy. It's like, what? He wasn't asking to meet you for a fucking coffee. He was asking to meet you to see if you'd say all the same shit to his face. And his response, I'll meet you. I'm buying. It's like, what is that? Is that what you do? Then you slag someone off until they say, come and meet me, and then that's how you get them on your podcast, is it?
Oh, we hadn't thought to try that.
Yeah,
we should try that.
I'm going to start slagging everyone off on there, and then when they start saying, come and say it to me face, say, yeah, cool. What you drinking?
It's just, I just find it really funny. Like, it's literally like he will just sit there and talk a bunch of shit and bang his desk and nearly break his camera like a dickhead. And but if you actually got him to, he wouldn't go anywhere near these people to say what he said. But I mean, by the sounds of it, like AEW and WWE have blacklisted him. So there's that.
He was pro AEW for a long time until the women's locker room actually called him out for being a creep and a pervert and just a general shit human being. And then he just suddenly backtracked and was just like, had this vendetta against the whole company just because they revoked his press passes. Now, just because he starts brown nosing Triple H, that suddenly it makes it all right again. But there's a small niche of Twitter that thrive on that kind of like reactionary sensationalist bollock.
Yeah.
I just haven't got any time for it. That's it.
He's just another.
This
he's
is
just
such a
another
bleak
engagement
start,
prick, isn't
lads.
he? I know. Yeah, let's move on from JD. Anyway, he's a fucking cunt.
The good news of the week is that the Outrunners have signed,
Oh yes,
according to Fightful.
amazing.
And for those that don't know, we are huge Outrunners stans. I'm planning my next tattoo, and it's just going to be Truth Magnum. I'm going to be honest with you. So,
Is anybody not an Outrunners stan at the moment? They're fucking brilliant.
They are great, to be fair.
did you watch the Collision? I'm guessing everyone here's seen Collision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, last
Yeah.
night?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Go-
have you not?
go on.
Well,
No, go on.
You're blocked.
for the benefit of no, the Truth Magnum. I think the main event went like 25 minutes, 20 minutes thereabouts. Turbo Floyd came in on a hot tag, and they had about like a moment, like 3 or 4 moments during the match when there was a face in peril, and then they did like 4 separate hot tags. Truth Magnums was one of the highlights of the match. He's just hitting the like punches, and he's getting major reactions. And they did that spot where they do like the linked arms and the double like elbow drop, and it's just got one of the pops of the night. The crowd was hot for it, to be fair. And yeah, these guys have got some momentum now. And I'm so happy that they've actually been signed, even though they haven't had the graphic yet.
Yeah. I just think it's one of those things where you can see how over they are, and you've got to act on it, kind of thing. Like, you can't just go, all right, well, we're just going to bury them somewhere over here until they stop being over, which is what they used to do in like WWE. It was like if someone got organically over of their own accord, they got punished for it and like shoved on the show that nobody watches or whatever, like until it cooled off, and then then they'd come back with like a new gimmick that everyone hated, and it was just like, I don't know why they were so opposed to that in WWE. Well, when Vince was there, I don't know how it is now. I mean, probably about the same, but it's I don't know why he was so opposed to them getting over with their own personalities.
I think just based on like having watched it on and off for a very long time, I think it's just because there's this ethos that, well, we didn't create this gimmick for you. You did it all on your own, and we don't like that. We want it to be our invention. And to answer your question about whether it happens now, I mean, the apple doesn't really fall far from the tree, to be honest, when you look at like how Triple H is running the company. Which, I mean, you can argue that a lot of his, top stars at the moment are maybe like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins is like mostly white, uninteresting like people, and like people like Cody, who you could argue he invented his, character and whatever when he was released as Stardust, because that's just what he wanted to do, and then he reinvented himself, and then they've said, okay, yeah, come back, we'll, you're going to become like the next like politician, to run for office.
Yeah, they didn't change his gimmick in any way at all. Like, or
Sean Spears as well, Jay Cargill, Ethan Page, holy fuck.
They've only done this because it's AEW, though, isn't it? That's why.
That's it.
Like if you think they changed Lexus King, so he's now got a set of balls drawn on his chin inside his beard.
What in the fuck have they done to that boy?
And he isn't getting a push, and the ones who come in and don't change are getting a push. He must be thinking, why did I not demand I was just Brian Pillman Jr.?
Yeah,
because he'd be the champion now. Like that's why, like when Starks goes eventually, he is going to be the NXT champion straight away, just as a fuck you moment to AEW. The Lucha Bros will get a push. Everyone will and it's literally just as a Triple H looking over, going, "Fuck you! I'm going to do this just to to fucking show you."
Like you,
yeah. But then after about 6 months, they'll be forgotten about. Like Ethan Page, I love Ethan Page, but he will be forgotten about in about 6 months. And I think
this is the thing. Yeah, it's like what I keep calling the Nina push, because they're sort of they're getting these people in, giving them a push just so they can go Nina at AEW, and then 6 months down the line, I don't think they'll be in the same position, or 12 months down the line, Because it almost feels like, I mean, from the odd bit I've seen of WWE, because I don't watch it really, but you know, I just wonder where Cody's going to be, because it seems like they're almost itching to get it off him and onto somebody else already anyway.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because like he's doing big numbers for them in terms of merch sales, and obviously the ratings are through the roof at the moment and all that. But like people are just bored of him already. Like it's a weird one. It's like people are still watching.
It's always been the whole thing about where, you know, his finishing of the story. God, I hate that phrase. Was, you know, where they built it up for a year was the big moment, and then when they didn't really have a plan for after that, because they thought, oh no, he's won the title now, then it's all going to be great. And it's just been. I mean, obviously, I don't watch it. I have many reasons why I don't watch WWE, but it just, it feels as though, just judging by reactions, that his jets are cooled, and they're just waiting to put it back on Mr. Tribal Chief.
Well, and people say, like, is he going to turn heel? He already is a heel. He's been a heel for fucking years. He comes out in fucking $5,000 suits. He has a fucking bus with his entourage on. He's got the fucking pyro. He probably spends more on pyro than he could probably solve fucking world hunger with stopping them pyros. He's a heel. He's fucking Homelander. And like people, oh, is he going to turn? He's always been a heel.
Yeah, but the people love him. They love to sing his stupid song, and they love to spend hours shaking hands with him and getting selfies after the show.
But people do that with Donald Trump as well.
Well,
true.
Well, we'll just leave that one to linger, shall we?
He's a fucking heel, and fans are morons anyway, as we've already said in the past. Because like, I'll keep going back to it. But at the end of the day, Swerve broke into a family home, threatened a child. He come out, his manager did a little dance, and the crowd cheered him on and booed fucking Hangman. So fans are stupid anyway. We can't trust fans. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately.
I think
the way it is.
It's not necessarily that we can't trust fans. I think it's a problem with like the whole dynamic between faces and heels and crowds anyway. Like at some point we kind of made it okay to cheer for heels if they're cool and charismatic, but then we're trying to still fit it back into an old sort of framework that doesn't really work anymore.
We did, but that's why I was so impressed with MJF when he came back, because I thought he would never. I thought he would never be able to get the kind of heat he needs to get to be a heel. So I was all right with him being a face, because he was a good face. Like, you know, he got more insane pops off a fucking clothesline than most people will ever get.
I know, because he's an expert in manipulating the crowd. To be fair,
100%. I was so impressed when he came back and turned on Danny. Yeah, great. But then within a week, well, within 10 minutes, he had the crowd hating him. And then he had a fella trying to start a fight with him in the fucking crowd. So, like, people, I think people need to go the extra mile. And to be fair to Swerve does try and do that. But then when you've got Nana doing his stupid little fucking dance in the background, the fans just completely ignore everything that Swerve's done. So it's harder for him because of Nana. He needs to fuck him off at some point if he wants to be a full-on heel.
When he started getting cheered, I think he should have leaned into it and been even more evil. And he didn't do that. He didn't do that at all. You know, I really like Swerve, but I think he is a horror movie villain. And to me, he's still a heel. Like, he's still the bad guy in the situation. It's like, I can't root for him just the same way I can't root against Hangman, because Hangman's not fucking wrong. So...
Hangman for me is like Charles Bronson in Death Wish. He's doing all this shit just because people fucked him over and he's fucking lost his shit. That's all it is. He didn't just wake up one day happy and go, do you know what? I'm just going to be a cunt. He did it as a reaction to people shitting all over him. And the police, just like in Death Wish, the police did fuck all. They had no interest in helping him. And his fucking wife got killed. This is what it is with Hangman now. Only obviously she's...
abandoned him. Like, we're supposedly having this lumberjack strap match either on Saturday or Wednesday. It doesn't seem to be clear which one. Where it's like, oh, well, everybody who stood in the way of you and Swerve are going to be the lumberjacks. So it's like, it's Hangman versus a mob, and we're expected to cheer the mob. That's fucking stupid.
I won't be cheering the mob,
very good.
but I will be cheering Jeff Jarrett. Just one more
Fuck
time.
that.
I want when he does
Fuck
the
that.
I've got to agree with Andy here. Like, Jeff Jarrett is doing the best work of his career at the moment, and
Jeff
just to
Jarrett can get in
backtrack,
the fucking bin.
oh, no, you're banned, you're blocked.
Yeah, send me away. I don't fucking care. You can get in the bin.
Is that what you did, Dav? Dav must have just said something nice about Jeff Jarrett and got blocked.
No, just to backtrack slightly about like why like the whole dynamic feels a bit off sometimes when you're watching wrestling. It's that think whatever company it is, whatever person you're watching, I think they just like to create as many memorable moments per show as possible. And as much as it doesn't really fit with the whole character arc of Swerve being a sadistic prick, Nana's dance just feels like a moment that keeps the kids happy. So I think what they're just trying to do, that's just one of like hundreds of examples where they've done that over the years. Like, they just try and keep everyone like cheering as much as possible and just making it memorable, like so they can go away and say, "Oh, do you know what? I love Nana's dance," and then that's one of the it could be one of the highlights of the show for some people, believe it or not. Not for me, but you know what I mean.
I'd have Nana doing his dance every week, but with somebody else.
Yeah.
Put him with someone else who needs Nana. Swerve doesn't need Nana at all.
I know. Sort of Swerve's said himself like that he thinks it's a good thing, kind of thing. But I don't know. I can't help but disagree a little bit. Like, I mean, if you're gonna push somebody as a villain, maybe it does detract from it somewhat having a character like Nana, who is, and then that's the thing. I don't dislike Nana, and I don't dislike Swerve either. I like both of them, but I think if you're presenting somebody as an absolute evil bastard, then having a funny little dancing fella with him isn't a way that you make the crowd react the way they're supposed to.
Yeah. I don't think we even need to get rid of Nana. I think just give him some evil shit to do when he turns up. So yeah, have him do the dance if you want, but then once he gets down ringside, have him be just a prick. But as it is, he sort of doesn't do that much. So the dancing's all there is.
For like the main event at all, and he could save the dance for certain occasions, like when he was dancing in front of Bryan Danielson's kid. Yeah. Or maybe come down with his coffee, sipping his coffee, and then throw it over a kid. Like the MGF, not actual coffee. We don't want the MGF stuff again. But
that's why you're banned on Twitter, Andy. That's why you're banned on Twitter. Wishing bodily harm on children.
Yeah, I'd fucking throw a fucking boiling hot coffee over a fucking coachman. But no, he could come down, do a little dance, and then throw a coffee over the kid, and like things like that would get him heat. But just coming down, dancing and smiling at everyone, and it's. I don't even know how we got onto this because we spoke about this loads, but yeah, it's the same as I always said. I think the dancing takes away from that, and that Swerve.
Nana was an evil prick in Ring of Honor. Like when he had like the embassy stable, like when it had like that revolving door of members, like he was still getting like mega heat just by being Prince Nana.
He never actually became a face. Like Swerve never came out and said, "You know what? I'm sorry, I was a cunt," and he never did any of that.
No.
He literally broke into his house, come out the next week dancing, and the crowd like, "Yeah, whose house? Swerve's house, baby. Let's go."
Can I just say something controversial yet brave? The chant is starting to grate on me quite a bit at this point. Like,
especially because they nearly did something so fucking cool with it, and then they didn't. When Hangman used that when he was burning his house down, like it should have become like a taunt to Swerve, but it hasn't really happened.
He also referenced it on Dynamite, I think it was, where he said if there was 100 houses or 1,000 houses that Swerve had built or had owned, he would burn every single one. That he would burn every single one of them to the ground. Well, that was a genius line. But yeah,
he should do that. He should go around finding all the other homes Swerve owns. Whose house is this? Swerve's house. Where's the fucking matches?
I think it's more complicated than we're giving it credit for, though, and I think it's also an issue that goes beyond wrestling, because I think over the last like decade or probably since the 90s, I'm going to say since like Frank Miller started doing Batman comics, we started to think that villains were cool and cooler than heroes.
was the NWO really. They were the ones that where it was cool to cheer the heels, because back then wrestling was still stuck in that sort of era where the heels were just these wacky comic book style villains, and then the NWO actually, well, no, we're kind of going to change the game a little bit. Bischoff's only good invention, other than actually selling mortgages,
But
is one of the only good ideas that he's had. But yeah, the
mortgages aren't a good
NWO, I
idea.
think, no,
I wouldn't
No.
bother.
no,
But it's
I-
everything.
Swerve
It's
should buy
people.
one.
It's people saying Superman's a boring character, and we have to have anti-heroes instead of heroes. Like, we've just decided that being a good person isn't interesting.
I find that fucking depressing. I think
is
this
depressing,
is
yeah.
is the running thing with AEW at the minute, is that I just
Yeah.
find it crushingly depressing for like a
Yeah.
huge chunk of it. Like, so Hangman can't be a good person because that's not cool. But Swerve can be awful, and that's cool. And then now we've got Mox being evil, and like, well, I'm trying to help you by hitting you with a hammer. It's just all very grimdark to me.
Yeah, and they haven't got any. They haven't got any heroes apart from the Outrunners. They're gonna have to save the day, I guess.
Well, the
That's the
problem
thing, that
for
there are no heroes at all. Like, it's so one-sided now, where there's far too many heels and not enough faces. And again, like I say, I can't think of Swerve as a heel because he's never atoned for what he's done.
well,
through the
12
whole
months
thing.
ago. 12 months ago, it was a completely different situation. Though we had no heels, and now we've just got loads of heels
Yeah.
and no out and out faces. I mean, you know,
apart from like
really,
Ospreay and Danielson and
Yeah,
a couple of others. But
Ospreay-
Kenny is the one that's going to be the big babyface when he comes back. That's
Yeah.
Has to be. Has to be.
when Ospreay eventually turns heel, that's gonna fucking kill loads of people in it. You're gonna have
It
kids
is.
crying in the
It's
in the
fucking
crowd.
wild that he came in as a face, though. Because I'm
Yeah.
so used to seeing Ospreay as a heel. That was
You know
like,
what
great
made me
one.
what's
laugh?
happening?
It was when he made his debut at, was it World's End, when they announced him as the next signing, when he said but he said, like, is he
Oh, it was
think
way
he must
before
have
World's
just
End,
gotten-
wasn't it? It was.
I
It
can't
was
remember
months.
which one it was. It might
No.
Is it Full Gear?
Maybe,
Might
because
be.
it was definitely like he
Yeah.
wouldn't be there until like next year or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
that's the promo I'm talking about, because he came out and he got a good reaction. But he was still, it's just when he said, "No, listen, I get it, pipe down, bruv." He just told the crowd to pipe down. It made me laugh, and it's like, is he a heel? Is he going to be a face? Is he going to be a heel?
Well,
I don't know.
he said, didn't he? Like, he apologized for all the stuff he'd said, and he said, "Look, I know it was a bit of a bell end. I apologize. You know, I
Yeah.
slagged off Canada's fucking, was it
Oh, yeah.
golden syrup or some shit? I can't even remember what it was now.
Well, he also
Syrup.
did,
Maple
he-
syrup.
he-
That's the stuff. Yeah. A
he
fucking
did the
Quaker.
Shawn Michaels thing. He did the Shawn Michaels thing where he, you know, in the match with Kenny at Forbidden Door, where he, you know, used the Canadian flag in very unsavory
Yeah.
positions, shall we say? So yeah,
I thought you-
definite heel
I thought
there.
you-
But then
I thought you were
Go
going
on.
to say something else then when you said he did the Shawn Michaels shit. I was like, oh, please, no, not another one.
no,
But
No.
thankfully it wasn't. He's still clean.
No, he got the crowd on side, like, because he came out when they were back in Canada, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he apologized to the Canadians and stuff, and the Canadians cheer him now. So it was all
Fine.
sorted out. But I think we didn't get any of that kind of thing from Swerve. So it's like I still don't see him as a face at all.
If he'd come out the week after and said, not the week after, but you know, when he started getting cheered and went, look, just did like a little 5-10 minute promo where he's like, look, I can't believe what I did. I've I've never done any of this. You know, nothing's worth doing. They can't going through the things doing the things I've done to people. But he didn't. He just carried on as normal and carried on bringing a fucking chain out and attacking people with a chain, even though he's a face.
And the week before the cage match, he was going, "Oh yeah, I found your new house. I've been sat outside it. I saw you carrying your pregnant wife to the hospital. You fucking psychopath! Like, what the fuck? I can't cheer that guy. I can't. I just can't do it."
Maybe when he comes back now, because apparently he's coming back soon, isn't he? Maybe when he comes back, he's finally going to address all the shit that he's done and be like, look, I deserved everything, the beating he gave me, because I've been a cunt. And then we can kind of just move on for a bit.
He needs to have a big romantic scene with Hangman where they both confess that they've been driven crazy by their love for one another.
Yeah.
And then they'll kiss in the ring and it'll be fine.
You might get that eventually. They'll probably end up tagging in about 2 or 3 years.
I reckon they will eventually. I don't even think it'll be 2 or 3 years.
He should do a big promo thanking him for his like whatever he's done in the past. Something trivial like what? Thank you for your music, Swerve. And he should be like, yeah, thanks for showing me how to ride a horse. But they should do it in the Cody Roman way that they did last week, where it's as though he's been in the fucking army or something. Oh, I really love your service, man. You've done me proud. What? Like what?
Oh, I thought you meant like a Hallmark movie, like a little montage of Hangman teaching Swerve how to ride a horse.
Well, they might do that, yeah.
I was just taking the piss. Sunset.
I was just taking the piss by that Cody Roman fucking scene the other day, like fucking Cody thanking Roman for playing for the whatever football team it was. Like as though he's just come back from Iraq or something.
Oh, I hope they don't go that far with it. That'd just make me a bit sick. No, but I think there has got to be some point where they call a truce, because like where do they go from here? Like someone needs to be like disemboweled or some shit.
Yeah,
like
it's going to be an Inferno match. Someone's going to get set on fire. I reckon it's going to happen. I thought, yeah.
I don't need any more fire. Fire's a bit too unpredictable.
I don't know. I mean, I think from what I remember about the Inferno match they did, was it Mankind and Kane did that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
but it was apparently really difficult to breathe in the ring while the flames were going. So I don't know logistically whether that would be a good idea and whether we would get a good match out of it. What we might get a good match out of, though, is an exploding barbed wire death match that doesn't go wrong at the end.
It's such a fucking shame that, because that match was phenomenal as well.
It was.
All anyone ever remembers is the sparkles. Yeah, fucking anyway, Coachman's a grass. How did we even get to where we are now? What were we talking about? I can't even remember now. We've gone all over the shop as usual.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun, Andy.
We were talking about the Outrunners
are signed.
Yeah. Anyway, the Outrunners are signed. They're going to get the graphic, and RJ's going to get his graphic at some point.
JD's going to hit the roof.
Oh, sorry. Why is the graphic so important? Why are people so obsessed with the graphic?
I think it's just confirmation, isn't it?
Yeah, they just made a big thing about it in the beginning, and then now everyone like expects everybody who signs to get a graphic like it's the most important thing, like not the actual contract itself.
It's
just getting the graphic.
Your social media editor can knock that up in like 2 minutes. I don't understand why we're obsessed with it.
RJ's never getting one.
I think at this point they're just pranking RJ.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah.
I don't even think he wants one. I think he's probably behind it. He's probably like, don't give me one. I'm just going to keep ranting on about it. And probably. The Outrunners, maybe they're going to do the Outrunners like a retro style one at some point. When they eventually win the titles, they give them an 80s looking AEW logo.
Just roll it on like a VHS tape, or give everyone in the crowd like a cassette where they put it into like a machine and it just says the Outrunners are all elite.
They've been all elite for 30 years.
They were all elite before anybody.
Yeah.
They were born all elite. I really do think what we said last week. I think they need to just go with it. Do it. Even if they lose it a week later to FTR, because you could actually give it FTR a bit of a fucking like a bit rejuvenate them a little bit. Give them a little bit, make them freshen them up a bit. Because if they turned on the Outrunners, that would be some serious fucking heat.
Yeah, I think they are better as heels myself, but
I agree. I think so. But I think they like being fake. I think Dax likes people liking him.
Yeah,
it's a weird.
He does everything for his daughter, though, doesn't he? That's
but
move.
I think that only because I listened to a podcast that the AW Match Guide, I think it's called. I can't remember. But it's your man Sam Brown does it, and he did one a while back, and he was doing the FTR versus the Briscoes, fucking obviously, and he was talking about how good they were as heels during that, and the guy he had on with him had kind of interacted with, he's kind of knows Dax and stuff, and he was saying he does love it. He loves being a good guy. He loves the whole fans liking him and all that kind of stuff. So. He wasn't sure whether he would be wanting to go heel again, but God, I hope they fucking do.
Yeah. I mean, that's between him and his therapist, and it's like I don't know. I just found them, but then I've never been a huge fan anyway of FTR because they got the belts off Hangman and Kenny, and they were my favourites. And I've always been slightly like the FTR. I don't like them. But then there was the whole brawl out situation, and it was a little bit with Dax in his podcast and sort of interjecting in things that were like nobody else could legally talk about.
I remember that podcast.
Kind of pissed me off.
I felt like with that podcast, because I did listen to it at the time, until I got fucking bored of it. Dax was trying to work on the podcast. He was trying to work the fans on the podcast. So he was coming out with stuff that he thought he could work into a story. And it was like, that ain't possible, mate. It's never going to happen. There's too much fucking legal going on. Because he did the whole thing with the contracts, if you remember, as well, where he's like, oh, yeah, we don't know where we're going to be. And then he tweeted a picture of a WWE contract and then deleted it.
About that. Yeah.
The whole fucking tweet and delete that fucking CM Punk and all these cunts do. If you want to get traction, delete it. Someone will take a screenshot and then they'll think it's serious. And it was, fair play to him. Like, if he's trying to, work the fans, like, but people know now, don't they? It's not the old days anymore.
People are I think people romanticize the idea of that match, though, because it's like, well, I mean, first of all, it was a case of, like, the Bucks were like, look, give him 6 months. If he can, like, not cause any shit for 6 months, we'll talk to him about working together and stuff. He managed about a week.
I know, yeah.
Started banning Matt Hardy and Christopher Daniels and Ryan Nemeth and whatever for Collision.
Yeah, and talking shit about Hangman off, like, after the cameras had gone off, and then people recorded it on the phones, which you knew they were going to do, obviously. So, and the fact that he didn't make it a week.
Well, and the fact that all the stuff, like Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer both since said that all the stuff they were getting was from the Punk camp. Mm-hmm. So all the reports they were getting, it was literally Punk going back to his fucking dressing room and being like, "Fuck, Dave, tell him this, say this has happened."
This is this is what we were talking about like last week, wasn't it? When that first promo that he when he came out on Collision, you see he didn't want to be there. Like, you could just see in his face that his heart wasn't in it, and he was just doing it for the money, and he would have rather just, and in hindsight, because that running Collision was, whilst it had some little gems, it was just really paint by numbers, and it really just didn't do the brand any favors. It was just a really dark time for AEW.
All it was missing was Neil Morrissey cleaning the fucking windows and Mr. Blobby, because it was Noel's house party. It was a fucking variety show with CM Punk hosting it. It was ridiculous.
We've talked about this, but it was shite. And people are still going about it like it was the best TV wrestling show of the past 20 years. Fucking bollocks.
It really wasn't.
He came. I don't think in his mind he was done, like you were saying there, Dan. I think for the first few weeks, I think he was into it, because I think he was thinking, this is it now. This is going to be my thing. I'm in charge of this. And I think I think it was only as he realised that people didn't all completely just fall in love with his show. I think when he realised that people were still like, yeah, no, it's a bit shit. That's when he was like, oh, I want out.
If that was his vision for AEW, like, overall, because we now know after it was denied that he had an office job and he had more sway than Tony was letting on. It's like, if that was his vision for AEW and it had carried on that way, I wouldn't still be watching AEW, because it was garbage. It was straight up fucking dog shit. It was so bad. And it was like, I think the point where he sort of definitely decided he wanted to go after all the hoo-ha and everything, I think it was when the Elite re-signed, because he knew he wasn't getting rid of him. And then after that point, he was there going back and forth between, like, TNA and WWE, and he was putting the fucking feelers out.
You knew he was
like, while he was still injured, while he was still healing, he went and showed up at the Raw taping, and then you just thought, we see what's going on here. So why are they going to bother bringing him back? And then they did, Just 'cause they thought,
Yeah.
you know, maybe he's actually going to try and be a professional like he claims he is, and actually just made the whole show pretty much a vanity show. Yeah, okay, we did get like, you know, the Bullet Club Gold FTR hour-long tag match, and we got like,
Luchasaurus, Brock Anderson.
there you go,
What a match.
10-star match right there.
And
you got
that,
you know,
that fake belt. This is the real belt. Fuck off.
oh, but the fact that it was so genius was MJF didn't even acknowledge it. MJF didn't say a single word, which I thought was that you could just see Phil in his room like seething, like being like the usual little crybaby that he is.
On the phone to Dave.
Well, that's why when he went to All In, he looked around and like, who's the smallest person I can attack here and get away with it?
Yeah.
And he's seen fucking Jungle Boy sorting his hair out and fucking went for him. He's a prick. Fuck him.
Yeah. He still struggled against Jungle Boy.
He did, didn't he?
Still. I mean, he is the worst UFC fighter in history, after all.
He's a fucking prick. It, like when like you could tell it was on the cards. Like looking back when he started tweeting about why did nobody pick me up. He knew that weekend he was going to fucking cause some shit. And I honestly, it might sound a bit far fetched, but I wouldn't be surprised if he'd already sorted a deal with WWE at this point because they do have a history.
Absolutely.
Going back to the 80s of telling wrestlers don't either no show or go and cause fucking trouble and then come to us. You go and fuck some shit up where you are, and then
apparently
they don't sort you out.
Apparently they don't do contract tampering though. Apparently that's isn't that?
Yeah. So how is it that everyone's so certain that the Lucha Brothers are going to sign with WWE if there's no tampering going on and no talks going on prior to people coming out of the contracts, kind of thing?
Just remember
that's
when
Conan. That's Conan for you.
The Lucha Brothers the contracts haven't expired yet either.
No, they're still with AW. They're still technically under contract. Same with Vicky Rock and Rusev.
He's the fucking cunt. More cunts. But do you remember when Triple H tried to get the Undisputed Elite back? And like he thought, you know, Papa H will come in, you know, I'll just offer him a deal, they'll come back. And he got hold of Bobby Fish. And Bobby Fish was apparently then, you know, he'd agreed, he was well up for it. And then he went back to Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and was like, look, Triple H wants us, he's offering this. And then apparently, like the story was at the time from Sean Ross, Sapp and Meltzer, that apparently then Adam Cole went to Tony Khan and went, hey, this is what's going on here, mate. And then that's when they gave Bobby Fish the boot and went, go on then, mate, see you later, good luck. And then he went back to
the same thing. Yeah. Swerve got a phone call or some kind of communication from him, and he went straight to Tony and told him what they were up to.
This is what RJ City. This is was it RJ City or no? Who am I on about? Who's the guy who Swerve tweeted back saying, "Do you want to see the texts?"
Oh, fucking don't fucking call RJ City Raj Giri. Man, that's not Raw. RJ City's a fucking legend.
We were talking about him earlier.
Word association there.
RJ's one of my favourite people in the entire universe. Raj Giri
is not
a fucking alcoholic.
Keep that in.
That's what I have to know who these people are, you know.
That's my, sorry for the ladies in the room, but this is my urethra moment where I, spill my words.
RJ City's a legend. If someone doesn't know who RJ City is, they're getting blocked. when I'm out of jail, they're getting blocked. Not now, obviously I can't.
You just have to keep
you'll
a
forget
list.
about this in 4 days.
I can keep a list. I've got a Jericho list somewhere here. No, someone the Bobby Fish thing was great because he ended up going back to Triple H and going, "Oh look, the lads have said no, but I'm still up for it." And Triple H just wasn't interested. And if you remember, about a week later, he turned up in TNA to the least reaction I've ever seen anybody get.
Yeah.
Radio silence. Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
Yeah, he got a good gif out of it. Well, I'll say that for him.
That's all Bobby Fish is known for, also apart from being maybe like 75 years old.
He's 904.
He's almost as old as Luchasaurus.
He is. Talking of that, should we shout out another funny moment just real quick? When was it? Who was it who got a promo on Luchasaurus when he said, "What are you? Aren't you like 6 billion years old?" And he just shouts "million." You hear it in the background. It just really made me laugh. Also, when in that Brock Anderson Luchasaurus collision highlight that we talked about, it's when there was a botch, like Brock botched something, and then you just hear Luchasaurus shouting, "The fuck was that, man?" my man knows the score. He's 6 million years old, and he still put on a good working match, but not if you're Brock Anderson.
But back on the Punk collision thing, the funniest thing about what Punk thought he was doing, isn't that Jericho has been taking the piss out of it, even though it's gone beyond parody now. It's the fact that Copeland literally was doing what Punk thought he was doing in his head.
Yeah,
Copeland was great. He's having some boss matches with some of these fucking young lads.
Yeah,
I can't wait for him to come back. I'm really excited.
I didn't want him, either. Like, I wasn't that hyped about him, and then I'm glad I was wrong because he was great. He was really interested as well, wasn't he? You can tell.
Yeah, he was enthusiastic. Like he's one of them locker room leaders, isn't he? He's one of them people who a lot of the young kids can like learn a lot from. And even though he's not going to lose an awful lot because that's just who he is, that's fine. Like he can still add a lot to the brand as a whole. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm dying on this hill. Christian and him will tag together again. I'm dying on this hill. I'm not.
I agree.
Of course they will. Yeah, it's a fucking no-brainer.
It's written in the stars.
I think also with Edge is that he's. I get the impression it's like people would go to him for advice rather than him forcing advice on people.
Absolutely.
And then people going, "No, I don't think so, man," and then getting offended about it. Like,
well, that was the whole thing. That was the thing with
Hangman. Yeah.
Yeah, with Hangman said when what was it he said? I remember Punk kicking off about it, but he basically said, "Look, I don't need to go and take advice." And Punk was like, "Oh, these guys don't take it." Hangman does take advice. He took advice off loads of these guys. Just they don't force it on him. I mean, fucking his first like big match in AEW was with Jericho, and Jericho's talked since about how he kind of tried to help him and stuff, and like so he does take advice. But Jericho didn't spit his dummy out and start calling him a dickhead, saying, "Oh, you refuse my advice."
Well, the thing is, though, that was taken. He took an interview, so it wasn't even talking to him directly. It was him in an interview or a panel or whatever at a convention saying, "I prefer to make my own mistakes," which is a completely different thing to saying, "Oh, I know what I'm doing better than anybody else. I'm not taking advice off anyone." That isn't what he said. It was what Punk took from what he said and decided to take offense at something that was never said in the first place.
Punk's one of these people, though, that he makes Macho Man Randy Savage look like the least paranoid person of all time. Because no matter what anyone says about, they can say something that's not about Punk, and he's convinced it's about him instantly.
Yeah. For sure. I think he's I mean, nobody's wrong when they call him fragile, are they? Like, he is incredibly fragile. And unless people baby him and treat him like the star he thinks he deserves to be treated like, he spits his dummy out and throws a strop at a press conference. Do you know what I mean?
You know what he's made of? Dog. Do you know what he's made of? Real glass.
He 100% boots his dog when he gets home after a fucking day, honestly.
Oh, I hope not. I like that ugly looking dog.
Oh, I fucking hate that dog.
So ugly.
I love dogs. I just don't like that dog.
That dog is like Punk's picture of Dorian Gray.
I thought you were going to say that dog looks like Punk. I thought you said that dog looks like Punk. He truly is his father's son.
No, because I don't know what that's a reference to.
Well, then he's got his other pet dog, Ace, who just goes around chomping people for no reason. But
the fact that he wanted him brought back as well is insane.
All these people have gone though, so I think we should stop worrying about them.
Yeah. I don't even know. Why do we even talk about Punk? Fuck Punk. What are we
about anyway?
We're talking about the Outrunners.
First it was the Outrunners. Well, first it was Coachman, then it was the Outrunners, then it was Swerve and Hangman, then it was back to the Outrunners again.
I think we got to Dax.
It's because we started off talking about fucking JD and it set the tone for let's have a moan about everyone we don't like. And it's gone down a horrible wormhole.
This is a therapy session for a lot of
Bring
people.
it back, lads. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Speaking of
Mike,
you want to do questions?
Well,
Yeah.
before he does,
being a bitch.
before he does questions, we're talking about therapy. We'll talk about some people who do need therapy because there's something going around and it's catching. This JDS, a lot of people are getting it. Jericho Derangement Syndrome. Jericho only has to fucking show his face, put on a good match, and people are fucking giving shows 1 out of 10. And they don't know why. They're fucking slagging Jericho for every opportunity. They don't know why. You ask him, like, what is it you don't like? Oh, he just needs to go. He needs to...
Yeah.
Like, why? Explain why. He needs to go. I've seen one guy this week. I don't know if you've seen this. One guy this week was going mad on Twitter because he dared... It is harsh, this. Like, he should... terrible that he did this. He dared to have the Outrunners on his podcast. What the fuck? Apparently, he was trying to leech off their popularity. The fucking man with 3.5 million followers. He gets the highest quotas on the fucking show regularly, or he's among the highest. And apparently, he's trying to leech off the fucking Outrunners' popularity. Like, what the fuck? He was giving them a fucking platform to show the world more, more about them and kind of get over more. And it was brilliant. I don't know if you have listened to it, but they're funny as fuck. It was a great listen. And they are absolute comedy geniuses. And like, for people to suggest that, like, oh, he's just trying to leech off their heat, fuck off.
Yeah, that's insane.
He's sheep, man.
Infinitely more famous than they are, I'm afraid.
It's fucking sheep everywhere. People say that the whole Jericho thing goes on Twitter. Oh, Jericho, and then people just jump on it, and then it's like, yeah, get rid of Jericho. And when you ask people why, like, well, I don't know, just because put someone else on there, and it's like, well, it doesn't work that way, does it? He gets high quarters. That's the reason he takes some of these spots.
I think that's another sort of instance of Twitter being very much a bubble in some respects.
100%. It's the IWC is not like. No, I was just going to say it's totally detached from reality in terms of wrestling's popularity and stuff. But no, it is.
What C stands for in the IWC, don't we?
Yeah, fucking internet wrestling cunts. But it's because like there's the best I've listened to in terms of explaining the ratings was on the Trish and Serta podcast when Trish did a breakdown of the ratings and why Jericho is on the show a lot, and it's because he stems the loss of viewers in certain quarters. That's why they put him on there. But it's not this idea people have of he goes to Tony, goes, I need to be on the show. I need a spotlight. Give me a match. I need to win. Fucking stupid, man. He's there for the fucking numbers.
Yeah, because there's what they call.
So he put Orange Cassidy over, so him wanting to win all the time is completely moot anyway. It's just
like he puts everyone over, but people have this bizarre idea that he's the champ and he's running around with all the belts because he never loses and he beats everybody. He just spent 3 months putting Hook over. Like, I wasn't particularly interested in it because I'm not a fan of Hook, to be honest. But he tried his best to get him over.
He did,
I think it was. Because I think it was Trish and Sarah that I was listening to as well. It's like there's a certain point in the show where there's like 2 ad breaks really close together, and they hemorrhage viewers in those bits. So they will put somebody like Jericho or somebody who is proven to bump up the numbers so that they don't lose as many in that bit with the ad breaks as they would do if they put on somebody who was like, if they put on like a squash match or something in that spot, it would probably lose more viewers than if you stuck in, Jericho or like Swerve and Hangman, like people that do get the ratings. So it's totally understandable that they use him the way they use him. I think some people sort of let their personal feelings about Chris Jericho in real life colour their opinions, which I understand to a certain point, but at the same time, like the audience at large who isn't on Twitter kind of don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what it is, and that episode is a fantastic listen for anyone who thinks they know all about the ratings and will suggest, like somebody else did this week, that half an hour should have been given to, and then you can throw any kind of lower card or mid card talent that you want to do well, because it's just not that it's just not realistic. You can't just throw somebody in there to open a show or to take a double ad break segment and they're going to do well. They don't. And as I think as she explained on that particular episode, that's the reason why Punk never got his WrestleMania moments. because he wasn't as big with the casual audience as he thought he was. He wasn't as big with as a ratings pull as Cena was, at the time.
Makes sense. Does make sense. Yeah. Although I did find it interesting that like he would insist on being in all the parts of the show that were usually very high rated to begin with, and let other people go in the death slot, and he would take all the parts of the show, like at the beginning and at the end, and certain other points in the show, he would take them for himself.
Oh yeah,
leave
that's
other people to pick up the scraps, kind of thing.
Yeah, he's a very selfish fuck. That's what was interesting about that episode, like you say, because she explained how Jericho takes a lot of the death spots, and like you say, the double ab breaks and stuff to avoid them hemorrhaging. I mean, if you stick a young wrestler in there who's just kind of getting some momentum in a spot where they're going to hemorrhage viewers, it's going to be really bad for them. Yeah, so they need to protect these people, and this is why we go back to the tag thing we talked about last week. This is why we're at where we are, why we can't just throw a private party or I would prefer top flight. We can't just throw them into the main event scene because the general public don't know who they are and don't care because they've not been showcased enough. We need to be drip feeding people these and getting people invested in so we can stick the belts on a top flight. Unfortunately, that's why we're stuck with the same trio of tag teams just kind of rotating at the moment because they're the only ones who've had the time and have got the numbers behind them. Sorry, go
on. I do want more MXM though.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think I liked them as much as I do. They're brilliant. They're absolutely phenomenal.
They are. We need more silly guys. I don't like the lack of silly little guys. And I also realise that I care far less about the titles than I do about like some random little silly, quirky, like mid-card feud.
Same. I am not necessarily... It's like sort of when people were obsessed with sort of the title pictures, or well, why isn't Hangman in the All-In main event? Why? Because it's for the title, and then the next match won't be for the title. I'm far more interested in that story, and I never thought the main thing about it was the title. It was about stopping Swerve from having it, but it was never about him winning the title himself. It was more about stopping Swerve from getting the title. But I found that interesting enough on its own without the title being involved. I'm sure it will be at some point in the future again, but
maybe
it was interesting enough as a story on its own without there needing to be a title involved. Yeah. I thought.
Speaking about titles and speaking about Hangman, I've got a suggestion for you. It's nearly Halloween. So what do you think to this? Just give me a yes or no on this amazing booking idea I've got. Hangman on Page, Jeff Jarrett for the Texas Chainsaw title. Leatherface guest referee. Let's go.
Big yes. Fucking yes. Big yes.
I mean, I'd tolerate it, I suppose.
but yeah, all that kind of like stuff that's not about a title and stuff that's just about other storylines and fun, all kind of seems to end up on Rampage at the moment. And if we're losing Rampage, I'm really worried, guys, that I'm gonna like stop enjoying AEW by, I don't know, like half, maybe.
Yeah,
Shockwave.
I got Shockwave.
We don't know what Shockwave is. It could be fucking anything.
We do need some silly bollocks. The balance of the universe is all off at the minute. We need silly bollocks to go with all the grimdark stuff, and we've gone way too far into like grimdark town. We're in Gotham now. We are
in Gotham now.
We need to pull back a little bit.
I want to be in.
Dark. We need Dark. Bring Dark back.
Yes.
Do you want Dark?
What's the name of the Wonder Woman island? Theramuscura something. I don't know why everything's like superheroes to me today. I don't even like superheroes, but that's where I want to be.
Yeah. On the island with the girlies.
Absolutely. Because fucking Collision is just 2 hours of AEW teams beating Ring of Honor teams for no reason whatsoever. And Dynamite's a bit depressing at the moment. And then Rampage is fun. And then they're like, but what if we took away the fun and gave you more grimdark? And I'm like, I don't want that.
No, I don't want that. I want silly bollocks. I think the thing is, what I liked about AEW in the beginning was that there was like a sort of a variety show almost of like loads of different wrestling types, loads of different storylines, loads of different types of storylines. So we had a bit of everything. And then I think now it's kind of fallen into this depressing, grimdark hole where, you know, like on the thing last night with Darby and Uno, and Darby's like, oh, there's a war coming. Oh. And it's like, oh, fuck off.
What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Because, like, you have to be fully in WrestleBrain to understand anything about the fucking Darby storyline. I refuse to understand it. It's like, you had a title shot, but now you don't. Or now you have to fight Mox to prove that you've still got it. And now you're just wandering around saying you've got to fight everyone to prove something. I don't get it.
He got baffled. He got baffled and bamboozled by Mox. And he was like, he's a little empty-headed boy. And he went, oh, Brian's not going to be here. All right, then I'll fight Mox instead. But yeah, there was that. And then it was like, oh, well, you can't be playing video games and doing funny little skits anymore. It's like, but I like the funny little skits.
I do as well, but Uno isn't even really doing that at the moment because he's in bad boy mode as well.
Yeah, he is also in Gotham. So it's like everyone has gotten serious already, but like I want to bring some of the not serious back because
even Orange Cassidy is in Gotham. Even Orange Cassidy is in Gotham. How am I supposed to live like this?
They've just gone too dark now. I think, you know, we need to pull it back just a little bit. Like there's no light. And there needs to be a balance, I think, of between the two.
Well, we could have a nice segment next week that could be quite good when someone sells Darby some magic beans because he's clearly thick as fuck.
Well, yeah, there is that.
You know, you want to climb Everest? You can't do it, mate. But I can give you. I've got some magic beans. You get a beanstalk in your garden there, mate. Oh, I'll have it. Let's go. Give me them.
You probably climb up the beanstalk and then drop off the top of it.
Yeah, through some fucking glass.
Some real glass.
Cry me a river. Do we think that Darby's just gonna get straight up murdered on Wednesday though?
Yes.
I don't know. But I don't know. I said last week I think this, and I don't know why, because it probably isn't going to happen. But I just have a feeling he's going to turn Darby. You know, at some point. Just that line when they were talking about what he did to Bryan Danielson, he goes, "I would never do that to Sting." I'm thinking he is going to do it to Sting at some point.
Oh no! I will stop watching if that happens. I think the one relationship that should never break down is that one.
I agree with that. And plus, Sting can't. Like, Sting's basically in a wheelchair at this point. Like, it's basically like, you know, a crime if he does anything to Sting. Sting can willingly like jump off like a roof or whatever, and he can probably walk around fine afterwards. But yeah, no, that's one thing that should be proven.
Some of the things he's saying, though, I do wonder if he is gonna sort of align himself with Mox's faction potentially, which could be interesting if he does.
Because don't forget, Mox isn't like out and out saying he's like he is a bad guy. He seems to think he's trying to help people. So I could imagine him joining with that, you know, and maybe Sting's like, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know, but the smashing people with hammers, I think. Yeah,
I mean, Jigsaw thinks he's a fucking good guy.
Well, about you know, if you listen to the internet, he's a fucking racist apparently because he comes out wearing a white t-shirt, which is bizarre.
No, it's because like there was that thing where his character arc now is kind of inspired by Romper Stomper, which is that film from the 90s.
But that was just fucking Brian Alvarez just talking shite. Yeah. There's not been anything to suggest it is. And if anyone's seen the film, it's not like the fucking film.
No, it's not.
He paraphrased one line.
That's it. Yeah, it's just one line where this isn't your country. That's literally it. And this isn't your country anymore.
That's not the same thing.
I swear to God, I wish we could just watch the show that we're watching without all the nonsense around it. Like, I don't care about industry stuff. I don't care about ratings. I don't care about ticket sales. I don't care about. I'm sorry, I don't care what Brian Alvarez thinks. I just don't.
No,
What,
I don't.
These are the things that everyday fans should not gossip and like discuss at length about and do says about how Will Ospreay doesn't sell enough.
Oh, fuck me.
Don't get me on that, for fuck's sake.
For some reason...
That dickhead did a fucking essay on it, man. Fuck off.
And then was like, oh, no one's literate anymore because you wouldn't read my fucking 12-paragraph tweet. Nah.
Yeah. And that was what they were using, weren't they? Oh, you just don't want to take the time. Fuck off. It was shit. I read it and it was rubbish. He basically went as hard as he could to twist everything into his own kind of warped view and hatred for Will Ospreay. And the thing is, you could apply everything that was written in that fucking essay to any wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
It was fucking stupid.
It was stupid. Can I tell you a nice thing that's in wrestling? It's relevant, I swear. Cara Noir had his first match back at Progress today after 16 months off injured after he broke his foot into so many pieces that they literally said he would probably never walk again. And today he came back and he had a match and the venue absolutely lost their shit and you could see that he was like trying not to cry. Everybody was chanting welcome home. It was lovely and I love that.
Oh,
I need to go back and rewatch the matches with Dragunov.
Well, I've still never actually watched the cage match with Spike Trivet where he broke his foot because I've just been like, I don't know if I can handle it.
No,
but maybe I can now that I know he's okay.
No, it's one of them. I think because it's when I stopped really like watching Progress because it's when Fed came crawling and signing like everybody under the sun for that abomination that was NXT UK. So it left Progress and like Rev Pro with very little in the way of like homegrown talent, and so rather sort of narrow-mindedly I sort of pivoted because I was quite into like British Strong Style and Imperium and whatever, but so I didn't catch wind of the Cara Noir Dragunov matches, but then I watched them out like a couple of years after and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is insanely good. Then they whipped up Dragunov pretty soon after, but yeah. Shout out to Cara Noir though. What a very very good success story that.
Genuinely, I don't understand how. But the one thing I did think was that he was still wrestling barefoot, and I sort of thought I'd put some boots on if I were you. Yeah, in fact, I will forcibly put shoes on you if I see you because I can't deal with that. And please don't hurt your feet anymore.
On,
yeah, literally.
Didn't Kenta call him out for a fight as well?
Yes, that's at the next show. Going to be Kenta versus Cara Noir. That's going.
Is it going to be Bullet Club Kenta, where he doesn't do anything, or is it going to be like old school Kenta?
Can't tell you. I saw Kenta fight someone. That's useful memory, isn't it? I can't remember who he was fighting.
Because I keep hearing people go on about like current Kenta and how he's not as good as he was. I mean, to be fair, he's like isn't he like getting on for his mid-40s now? Like people slow down.
We're all falling apart.
He come through the Noah ranks where there's not exactly a walk in. So I get it. But you look at him like to like Marufuji, who could still go. You think Kenta's sort of railing it in, but then again, he is with. Oh, he's not with the House of Torture. He's with Bullet Club still, isn't he? But anyway, like it's just I haven't seen a good Kenta match in quite a while.
I feel like this one's going to be good. I've got faith in Cara.
Yeah, I reckon it will. I reckon it'll be good.
But are you going to the Doncaster Rev Pro show? Because I think a few of us are going to go.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah.
Nice one.
I can't wait.
Quite far for me, but yeah, it's like a fair distance. So
I think it'll be worth it though. Got, what have they got booked already? There's Mina Shirakawa, but I don't think they've said who she's fighting.
Azumi and Kanji was announced the
yeah.
other day.
It's Luke Jacobs and Ishii for the title.
Yeah. And like someone asked the Rev Pro guy on Twitter whether they'll get more Japanese guys because obviously Royal Quest is the next day.
Yeah.
And he just said kind of keep watch this space kind of thing. So I'd imagine we could get Zack Sabre Jr.
Yes, I was just gonna say I'm keeping everything crossed for Zack Sabre Jr.
I went to Rev Pro show in London at the All In weekend, and his match with Hechicero was one of the best matches I've ever seen. It's just
that was such a fucking banger of a show.
It was ridiculous, yeah. So fingers crossed. Like I don't know who Mina Shirakawa's going to be against though.
No,
I'm still
sorry.
I know I was going to say I've still got my kind of dream scenario, which probably isn't going to happen. But like with Toni Storm going and wrestling in Japan, and she's been to Australia, that she might come and wrestle in the UK. Because the whole retreading her steps as she gets ready to go back after Mariah.
That would be fun.
A match if she turned up and wrestled Mina, that'd be fucking ridiculous.
That would bring the fucking house down. I want them as I'm trying to think who I want them to book to fight Sunshine Machine as well for the tag championships. But I haven't figured that one out. There must be someone really fun. The Outrunners, yeah.
God, that'd be amazing. But it depends whether the jet skis are all fixed and working. Because that was I don't know if you've heard the podcast he did, but that's why they said they didn't turn up at All In. Because they said they were taking the jet skis over the Atlantic and they broke down halfway, so they had to swim back.
Oh, no good.
Or excuse. There's enough vascularity to carry them over anyway.
Those arms, they could swim across the ocean.
Swim. That's it.
It was like, the way he said it, he just goes, "Yeah, so we just had to jump off and swim back."
They're very funny, aren't they? They're just great. I actually would kill to see that match. Them versus Sunshine Machine would be fucking awesome.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, it's just a good dynamic. Just to bring some of that, bring some of the wrestling sphere out of the dark, like we all seem to be in at the moment. It's very easy to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what'll bring us out the dark? Questions.
Yeah.
First question comes from our Discord. It's from 3 Crab. He says, "Who do you see getting dethroned first? Mariah May or Mercedes?"
Oh, I think Mercedes. I think that reign's coming to the end probably by the end of the year. I can't see Mariah losing it yet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I don't know who. Don't know who dethrones her, but I think Mercedes is losing it by the end of the year. Her first loss is going to be a big deal.
Willow.
Yeah, that's true.
Well done.
It has to be Willow. I'd love it to be Willow. It should be. Makes sense.
Or Statlander. I'd be happy if it was Stat again. To be honest, Stat as TBS champion never really got going. I feel like they missed the ball with that one slightly, but not it is what it is. But I think she is. But I think her as a heel champ would be so sick.
She can win it off Willow when Willow wins it. Let Willow have it for a while.
We need to get Trent back so that we can have Evil Chris and Evil Trent, and then she can have the belt.
Yeah, because I want to know what was going on there. Because he whispered something to her, and we never found out.
I know. Well, we need to find out, but he fucking popped all the screws out of his neck, didn't he? So.
I agree with. I think Mercedes loses first, and I think Mariah holds until Tony enters Act 3.
Do we think Tony's winning it back, or do we think maybe Jamie might take it off Mariah?
I
don't know. That this is the thing. We've talked about this a lot. Like, I think the women's division is one of the highlights of AEW at the moment. Like, I think they're really putting a lot of effort into it because they've been aware of the reputation that it's had for a long time, and they're really delivering some really good stuff. And the roster is really deep now, like with good, believable champions on both sides, whether it's the world champion or the TBS belt. So it's really hard to predict. I mean, I think a rematch with Tony is happening sooner, but I think Tony wins it in Grand Slam, to be honest. And I don't know whether you have Jamie as like that transitional champion. Doesn't really seem right.
No, you can't do that. She's not a transition. She needs to win it and needs to be showcased properly because the Wembley moment was robbed from her. But maybe she wins it going into 2026 All In, or holds it at that point
Pinned
anyway, so
or
she can have
whatever,
that
yeah.
moment.
But do you not think Jamie could take the TBS belt?
I was thinking that with
could.
Mercedes, she could be, but I just, for me, I think Mercedes should lose it fairly soonish. But I would rather that feud came a little bit further down the line, just because that's a dream match, as I said before. When
It's the money match, isn't it? That could main event a pay-per-view.
When Mercedes' contract was up, or when she left, or whatever the fuck happens, that was when you were like, okay, we can actually have hate Mercedes now. This would be fucking phenomenal.
I think I'm looking forward to Mariah Jamie quite a bit more. But I mean, both the matches would be great. But I just think, in my head anyway, like Jamie and Mariah's styles will mesh so well together that the match will be absolutely incredible.
Oh, it will be, yeah. But for me, the only reason I'd go with Mercedes is just because for me they're the two best in the world. Hated and Mercedes. But I think they could all of these can have a great match with anyone, can't they? At the moment, the way it's going.
What do we think?
Sorry,
I'll shot a name in for beating Mercedes, Athena.
Oh, yes.
But we've got to get them to fucking let Athena be on TV first.
She's doing bits in Ring of Honor, to be fair, and then when she loses that belt to Billy, it's going to be a big deal again, and then that's when I think Athena will, I guess you could say, come up, like progress to being like a mainstay on the AEW women's roster.
Why is she the only person in Ring of Honor who doesn't come across to AEW?
Because they've built that division. They've rebuilt the women's division in Ring of Honor as well, and I think she's been the centerpiece of that. When Tony bought the company, there was it that Roxanne girl who's in NXT now?
Yeah.
She was the champion, and then they had her drop it to Deonna before she was signed. Can't remember, but they wanted to get it on someone who was going to stay for a long time. And she's the highlight of Ring of Honor. Like
she is. I totally agree.
She's the star. But I think she can carry a lot of that momentum when she does lose it, and finally, put Billy over as the women's champ. Probably
I just think it's just a shame that every other Ring of Honor champion, they just have them hop over to AEW. Like Mark Briscoe's never on Ring of Honor anymore.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He needs to
and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, Athena is the best thing on Ring of Honor. Why wouldn't you bring her across? It doesn't make any sense to me.
As soon as Dalton Castle's fit, they need to get that belt on Dalton Castle. Get it off Mark Briscoe. Dalton Castle needs to have that belt and be the centerpiece of the male Ring of Honor roster.
I do think
slightly disagree with that. My choice would be Lance Archer, personally.
That'd be fun.
I don't care. You're wrong, because Dalton Castle is the best thing on Ring of Honor. So sorry, overruled.
Well, he's kind of had everything sort of derailed because of the boys getting sacked and then his injury. So
that was going really well though, because the Outrunners became the boys, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then he got injured. And it's oh man. But that's now the Outrunners, because now the Outrunners have kind of
you can't have them go back to being the boys now, and I'm really sad about that, because they were really good
just
boys.
Call them the men. Just call them the men instead.
But anybody can be the boys. That's the beauty of the whole thing. I mean, the Outrunners were for a while. Even had what's his face, that actor today, Paul Walter Hauser was one of the boys at one point. So that literally anyone they can pick. Make Griff Garrison one of the boys, because he's doing fuck all else. The story they've got going on at the moment's rubbish.
I really liked the story they had going with Spanish Announce Project, but Cole broke his arm, didn't he? So he's not been around.
Yeah, kind of derailed it a little bit, unfortunately.
And then Maria's not well, so that's kind of also impacted that.
Yeah. It's a waste of some great talent, but it's not a waste, because you could still use them really well. But when JD Drake is back, make the workhorsemen the boys.
I was going to say, my brain had gone down. I think my brain and your brain went down the same thing, because I was about to say, why don't we make Anthony Henry and Beef the boys?
Yeah.
We'll call them the workhorse boys.
I just think JD Drake is one of the most underrated wrestlers on the planet.
He's brilliant.
Anyone, that fella.
He is absolutely fucking brilliant, and he doesn't get anywhere near the credit he deserves. I think there's quite a few people like that on the AEW roster, that AEW and Ring of Honor, because I think as well is that Alex Reynolds and Uno are so underrated, and they never
Uno's
get
phenomenal.
the props they deserve.
No.
And it's like they have like Dark Order as a trio and as a tag, like whatever combination of them there is. You kind of like they do the most fluid team moves and stuff out of anybody aside from like the Bucks, probably. Like they're so fluid and they're so good at working together, and they just never get any of the credit they deserve. And like the when they announced the match last night, it was like, oh well, why is Darby fighting Uno? And it's
I
like,
fucking hate that. Yeah.
because he churns out fucking bangers. That's why.
I don't. After that match with John Moxley, I would have thought that would put all of that shit to bed, but for some reason it didn't.
It didn't
because like a couple of weeks later they did one with Romero and Moxley, and then they turned in a fucking like at least a 3.5 4-star match because that was incredible. The Rocky Romero John Moxley match. People say, well, why is he working Rocky? Well, it's like Rocky can actually go. Have you not watched his stuff in CMLL? It actually is wicked.
Yeah.
But, people just like to complain anyway.
Well, because actually, no, I'll save it. It was one of the other questions, I think. So I'll be quiet.
Well, I still, I'm still upset that we're not going to get the Dark Order backing up Hangman. Maybe we still will eventually, but I was hoping they were going to go there. But I would rant on about that for a while, so we might be best moving on to another question.
And I'll probably join in. So yeah, we better move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike.
I think this will be the question that you were alluding to. So I'll go to one of the Twitter questions. It's from PD Plague Docs. He says, between AEW and the Fed, which team that has never held the tag belts would you most like to see win them?
I saw this question and I just thought I'm going to have to sit this one out because I'll cry.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what I'm going to say.
We all know what you're going to say.
Was this question deliberately written to fuck with me or what?
Well, I think did you say on one of the ones we've done here, Dan? You had was it you that had a similar theory that not theory but an idea that you thought they should have gone with these for the first tag champs?
Me? Oh yeah. So I think I'm of the mindset that Best Friends should have been the first AEW tag champs.
Yeah, they
but
should.
That's not what I was thinking for the answer to this question, because if this is a team who's never held the tag belts, I guess they fall into that category. But for me, I'm a huge Aussie Open mark, and I know that they've held the Ring of Honor tag championships, but no, them when they win the AEW tag championships, I'll probably cry. To be honest, because believe it or not, like this is a little truth bomb that I'm dropping. Like several years ago, my partner bought me. I used to do a bit of wrestling training like several years ago in London, and I was probably a bit too beginner for this kind of standard of class. But Kyle Fletcher actually taught me a little bit,
amazing.
and so I feel like a little bit of a personal connection there. Like he did sort of teach me some stuff about like lucha and psychology and stuff like that. So it never went anywhere, obviously, because I'm 32 and working an office job. We move so Aussie Open every day.
I would agree. Well, I'm going to end up agreeing with everyone's choices, but for me personally, it would be Dark Order, and I mean, ideally, it would have been Stu and Uno, but these things happen. But yeah, like either like Uno and Silver, or Reynolds and Silver, or one of them, but then maybe the trios belts in Ring of Honor or AEW would be better for him. But yeah, I don't think. I think Stu and Uno back in the day, like sort of before Stu went, I think they should have had a run, like at least a short run with the tag belts at some point. Because they kind of got ping-ponged for a bit, didn't they? Between, like, I think it was like FTR and the Bucks. They kind of got ping-ponged between those two.
It was the COVID era. It was all a bit weird.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but I think Stu and Uno should have had a run at some point. But yeah, like Aussie Open's a great shout. I think
a great shout. I'd like Roppongi Vice as well. I guess. If I can't have best friends, which realistically I can't, I'm going to make Roppongi Vice forcibly put them back together.
Never say never, though. This is the thing.
I was just going to say, like, you never know. For mine, I'm going to have to go back to the JAS and the Sex Gods. No, I'm only joking. It's not really. I would go with 2.0.
I was going to. 2.0. I love 2.0. We don't see enough of them.
Was that yours? Yeah, because Daddy Magic's a legend. I think he should have every belt going.
You've all said the ones I would have said. Like everyone's.
What, even Jericho and Sammy?
I was going to say Jerry Shaw, to be fair.
Fucking the fact that Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara have got tag belts at the moment, it makes me so angry. I can't even speak about it anymore.
Tell you what I find a bit weird about that, right? Is that because apparently Dustin's contract's up soon, isn't it? And so if he's buggering off to faff about with Cody, but they're putting belts on him, but the Lucha Brothers can't even get booked for a show. I find that a bit weird.
That is a bit weird. I don't know do we know why do we think that he's leaving?
Yeah, nobody knows. Nobody
really knows. This is just wild.
It's one of them,
speculation.
right?
Yeah.
He ain't gonna go. I don't think he'll go there just to turn up for one Raw episode, have a Cody scene, and then be lost to the ether.
I'm just wondering if he's if this is what he keeps calling his last ride, he's
been on it for 5 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's been saying it for years, hasn't he? And then recently,
he seems to be harping on it more now. He seems to be harping on it more now than he did. I'm just wondering, is he just going to go and be part of Cody's entourage rather than an active talent?
Well, someone said to him on Twitter something about that recently, and he was like, "No, I've still got loads left." So
fair enough.
God,
fair enough.
Just fucking, why does he have 2 belts right now with young guys that also shouldn't have the belts? And everyone said, "Oh, it's just because they're in this residency in Texas." It's well, it's over now. Get him off him.
We haven't seen him since. Where'd the Von Erichs been since?
Oh, good. I don't want to see him.
They are doing indie dates. The whole point of Ring of Honor, right now, in terms of the contracts and how they're all structured, and with a lot of the lower AEW talent, lower card talents, they're allowed to work indie dates, and they're allowed to sort of take bookings elsewhere because it's good for them and it's good for the brand. That's why a lot of Ed fans say, "Well, why don't we ever see them?" It's they're probably working the weekend. Fucking Tony Deppin's holding down 2 or 3 jobs whilst he's still wrestling.
Yeah.
Appears on AEW semi-regularly. Anthony Henry's doing bits,
I think
that's why we're not, it's not like the Fed where, they have to be showcased every week because people have short memories and forget who they are. It's just
and they're not allowed to do any other work.
Exactly.
I think it's good that the Von Erichs are out there getting the reps in, and I think it's good that they're getting the reps in on Ring of Honor. What I don't necessarily think they needed to do was tie the trios belts up with them. At that pay-per-view, I would have had Dark Order win them, personally. I don't think they need to get the experience in with the trios belts. I don't think it's necessary.
We could rant about the trio belts all day, so I've got a completely different view on it, to be honest. I think there's plenty of teams that should have had them before then, but they'd be here till fucking next Tuesday. But Dav, what was yours?
I can't think. You've all said all the good ones.
Give us one, throw one out there. Oh.
Just throw one out there. Actually, there is one that we haven't said. There is
you're
one
not
that we
having
haven't
Jericho.
said, which is the
Can't have Jericho. Oh, fuck's sake.
No. Mike, what was yours while he's thinking?
Moxley and Eddie.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that would have been fun.
to be fair, actually,
That might
good
still
shout.
happen, yeah.
Nah, Eddie's not signing.
Moxley and Eddie.
Eddie's not aligning with heel Moxley. He'll go. He will never align with Claudio. That's not the Eddie that we all know and love.
Down the line, it might have.
Oh, I don't think so. I think Eddie's hatred for that man runs so deep.
When Mox is reformed, because don't forget when they were feuding, he wouldn't attack Mox. He wouldn't even hit Mox. Yeah.
He wouldn't align,
So-
but he would never tag with Claudio. That's one of the things with
Oh,
Eddie.
no.
Like, he wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, once Claudio's split, because it'll probably happen eventually.
I would
I
love
mean,
a nice face Eddie to come back though, because like we said, we need some fucking good guys.
Heroes. Yeah.
100%.
His leg needs to be reattached first because that thing
Yeah.
does not look
Yeah,
pretty.
of course.
But yeah, I think
I was really just gutted that I couldn't see Eddie at Wembley this year. I was so gutted.
What about the no one mentioned the Golden Lovers?
I found one. I've got a shocking one that I thought the one Santana and Ortiz.
they should have won it at some
Oh,
point.
they won it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
it's a
feuding with the
shame.
Bucks as well, weren't they? It's like
Yeah.
oh,
And then they started feuding with each other in real life.
Yeah.
because fucking
Unfortunately.
Santana didn't like to be a tag
Yeah.
wrestler. Thought he was gonna be, Swerve.
It seemed like a one-sided feud, didn't it? Because like Ortiz was quite like, no, I'll go back. I love him and all this. Yeah. And Santana was like, no.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's,
Now he's
yeah, it's
making it in TNA,
unfortunate.
isn't he?
He's doing bits in TNA. I think.
Fucking
Don't
Is he?
watch it.
is NXT developmental. Yeah, he's there somewhere.
Yeah. That's what that feels like now, doesn't it? Like with the whole TNA NXT crossover. It's either that WWE have already bought it potentially and are using it as like a developmental, or they're just stripping it for parts. They're
I think
just
it's
like
that.
keeping them sweet till all these free agents come available. Then they'll just take them and ditch them.
I think
Yeah.
it's that because they're like we'll take Joe Hendry, we'll take Jordan Grace,
Yeah.
and you can have like Joe Bloggs, and this person turns up at TNA and everyone's like, who the fuck's this?
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you see the Andy Quilden interview thing? He did. Oh,
Yeah.
someone on Twitter where he said to work with them. Then at the end of the deal, do we have an option to buy the companies for a reductive price or whatever it was?
Yeah,
It's something like that.
he said the deal they wanted to do with Rev Pro was like, we'll work with you, but then after 12 or 18 months, wasn't it? But he said after that, we have an option to kind of own it all. And he said his response. He said his response was like, oh, well, what, like just own the the library of work that we've done. And it was like, no, own everything. And then he was like,
Wow.
Ridiculous.
then he was like, fuck this.
Good.
Like that,
Good boy,
'cause
Andy.
that's when I was thinking Tony Khan needs to do. I don't care. He's got a lot of money. AEW's a success. Do everything he can to protect these cunts from having to get in bed with the WWE.
Yeah.
Because they just strip them bare and leave them with nothing.
Well, it kind of seems like he is, because like AEW have been working more with Rev Pro.
Yeah.
So
They have a full agreement with them. It's them, Stardom, CMLL, New Japan. They're all intertwined, and it's a collaboration partnership that works because it means that more of his talent gets to go work elsewhere. Like Anna Jay's done her Stardom excursion, which seems to have done other world. Gray's going to the New Japan LA dojo for a bit to sort of work on her skills and everything. And you get like Tomohiro Ishii doing a mad summer on Collision, like turning in banger matches, and it works. It's a partnership that works. It means people are getting something out of it. You have like, people like you get like MJF and Jericho working on CMLL shows.
It looks like that's Scott Demard's promotion as well. It's working with whoever as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
They've
they
got
are.
some good talent in that show.
Yeah, it looks good actually. I listened to him on the Jericho podcast, and it sounded like I don't know. I hope it's a success for him. The way he was talking, he kind of seems a likable fella. Not
I
like
hope it comes on this side though, not the Fed side of the partnership type thing.
Yeah, hopefully. But like he was very pro the AEW partnership that they had at TNA though, because he was saying they've never done anywhere near the numbers they had with Kenny, and they probably never will again.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, because it does all seem very, when it's a partnership with WWE, it does all feel very sort of one-sided to benefit WWE. But another thing that is slightly worrying to me is that slowly, AEW talent has stopped appearing at GCW, and it's more Impact and NXT showing up at GCW.
Yeah,
and I'm like, where's that fucking headed? Like,
well, Matey from GCW has apparently not always kept his word for stuff. And if you look at it, it's kind of not surprising because wasn't that where Jacob Fatu, sort of upped and left, and now Zilla Fatu has sort of showed some weekend events. So there's rumblings because he's got a Fatu surname that he's just going to end up being a part of the bloodline with 40 members or whatever it is now. So it checks out.
The bloodline's got too big now. They need to trim the Fatu a little bit.
Oh dear.
Taxi.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
From friend of the podcast, Ryan, Undisputed XE on Twitter. He says, if AEW did intergender matches, what are ones that you'd like to see?
Orange Cassidy versus Chris Statlander.
Yeah, that was that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that one. So I'll think of another one.
Statlander versus Lance Archer.
Just for it's probably going to sound a bit crass thinking about it, but just for sheer what's the word? Visual sake, Layla Hirsch versus Big Bill.
Oh my God.
Difference.
That would be like the that would just be this like the match she had with Camille, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd just be the same thing.
That's it. Or on the flip side, do Camille versus Marco Stunt.
Yes, that would be a good one.
Rhea versus Beast Mortos, just to see her get battered for a 5-minute order.
Yes. Oh mate, yeah, I could have done. What did I think of that actually?
I've got one. Brody King versus Willow Nightingale.
Oh yeah, they teased
that on a mix,
didn't they?
They've done that on a mix. Her and Copeland versus Brody and Julia.
I want that as a singles match.
Oh, I miss Julia Hart.
Yeah. Hopefully she's back soon. Fingers crossed.
Who do I love? Taya Valkyrie versus... Who would I like to see her murder? Oh, anyone. Just anyone. Anyone. Any of the men.
Dalton Castle. She should have had a match with Dalton Castle after the...
That would be silly. Yeah.
Dalton would have been amazed in that. And she can go as well. She's very underused.
Yeah.
As it
I
is.
was shocked when I found out how old she is. Because she's fucking great.
A lot of people go back to, she gets a lot of criticism from the fact that she came in and jobbed to Jade Cargill, which in hindsight was such a mistake. Jobbing so many good people. Because Athena as well jobs to fucking Jade Cargill. But then also she had that match with Britt, didn't she? Which was terrible. But it takes two to tango. Both of them just had an off day. It's one of them things. They both had good matches, at other points. But people focus on that and hold that up as the only piece of work they want to talk about.
I love Taya Valkyrie and I will hear none of it.
Yes. I think as well, the other thing is you can't have chemistry with everyone. There's so many different people that you're wrestling. You're going to have great chemistry with a lot of people, but there's some people who it's just not going to hit. And it is what it is, and it's but you can't judge somebody's entire career on one bad match, or one even barely passable match, whatever. You can't, but people do tend to do that. And it's oh, well, remember this one match they had. They could have had 10 brilliant ones. But it doesn't matter.
The same thing with Britt Baker as well. Loads of people are just jumping on this Britt Baker hate train, and it just does my head in.
I hate the pylons, honestly. The pylons on the internet just make me head. It's there's no need. It's why people just love hating somebody and piling on and trying to inflict fucking as much mental fucking bullying as they possibly can. It's
yeah. I think as much as everybody likes to think that they're not marks and that they're above it and they understand the industry and everything, people get fucking worked by heels and they think that Britt Baker is her character and it's just stupid.
Next question. What's the last couple of questions? Is 2 more? Is the mic or 3?
Yeah, two more. But one of them I think will take too long. So we're just going to do the last one. This is from Haley. This is MS_insane on Twitter. She says, if you could pitch one dream merch item to a promotion and he couldn't refuse, what would it be?
For fuck's sake, man.
Scott, I've got to think about that one for a bit.
That's because of the mortar smash, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I want the best friends Galaxy
They should
tracksuit.
start making them. They'd sell like
yeah,
book.
but that's what Mark was on about last week, wasn't he? The Mortos mask. Why they really should, but I don't know. Maybe they don't have the. Well, say they should have the rights of Mortos. They didn't have the rights for the Lucia Brothers, did they? Because that's what Lucia Blog
No,
was
but then
talking
this
about.
was their character, isn't it? It didn't
Yeah.
they like make this?
Yeah,
They
I
should
think
have
it'd
the
be
rights
so
to this.
expensive though. To
Yeah, that's
surely
what I'm
to
thinking.
manufacture something like that is.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know-
if a jersey at Wembley costs like 80 quid or 70 quid or whatever, the mask would be about similar. So,
Like, because if you look at their merch, most of it is print-on-demand T-shirts where there's
Yeah.
no like initial outlay because they're not creating it offhand. Whereas, like
No.
with those, they'd have to manufacture them. It would cost
Yeah.
ridiculous amounts of
I
money.
think
And
the other thing as well is that with jerseys, I think they are very much like they're still print on demand. They're still printed at Pro Wrestling Tees, but they are putting a massive markup on them. I think the actual manufacturing costs of the like doing a Mortos mask or whatever would be far, far higher than a jersey, and that is when your margins get really, really small.
yeah.
So it could be just that they, even if they sell quite a lot of them, the profit that they make from each one might not be worth it.
But we can just have fantasy things here because we are not actually saying that they should do this.
Oh no. Yes,
So,
yeah.
in the spirit of the question, we can have anything we want.
Yeah.
I thought of one. So I think WWE have the option to do the funniest thing ever. I know they won't, but in my head, they probably will. So they get a phone case with CM Punk's face on it, made of real glass.
Dear.
I'll tell you what I want. A Hangman Zippo lighter.
Nice. Nice.
Because
I'm
I
gonna
would
go back
actually
up.
use that.
I want a Nick Gage Jericho commemorative pizza cutter.
Yeah.
A Swerve lockpick for when he's breaking into houses.
Give me a golden lover's pride flag.
Respect.
Yeah.
Hey.
Have we all said them now? Have we all had one?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Yeah.
that's everyone, yeah.
Did we?
Respect.
I think we all said. Sarah, did you say one? You did, didn't you?
I don't think you did you?
I said my really basic one, which is that I wanted the best friend's Galaxy tracksuit.
That was it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was it. I remember.
Very nice choice. I remember that. It's the loudest jacket in any room.
I literally have two of the other ones because, like, I found the dodgy ass supplier that they got them from, but the Galaxy one I have not managed to find.
You can't win them all, just some of them.
I also can't even wear them anymore because it's too sad.
Oh no! Depression tracksuit. No.
When Jericho hit Orange over the head with the picture frame, did you sort of die a little inside?
I actually felt really happy when he pulled out that picture frame, and I saw because I normally watch Dynamite the next morning.
Yeah,
I woke up and I could see that there were tweets like everybody check on Waffles, make sure she's okay, and I was like, oh god. But actually, I was happy that someone remembered that Best Friends existed. Especially because that was in that same episode where Kyle Fletcher said to Will Ospreay that there was no one he would rather win the tag titles with. And I was like, get out. You absolute...
But that's going to unravel. That's going to unravel like next week, I think, or the week after.
I really want
to Wrestle Dream. It's going to
I
unravel.
want Davis back. Please let him be coming back.
Don't give us hope about Davis.
I know.
He's got to come back. It's going to be Dave.
Will name dropped him. Will name dropped him.
He did, he did. Yes, because Will's a good boy. Kyle Fletcher, on the other hand.
I think they're losing, and I think Callis and his boys turn on him. I think Takeshita beats the shit out of Ospreay. I think Kyle tries to help him. They're under, they're being beaten down. There's not enough, and then Davis comes back. It's got to be.
The thing is, I know I would.
They did the United Empire flag as well. They did the United Empire.
Yes, I just don't know if Davis is enough of a thing for most people. like to get excited about. Obviously, I would be
in
through the
New
roof,
York.
but-
I think he will. In New York, a crowd
Okay.
like that.
I think the United Empire being like
Oh, maybe they'll get
reformed
some of the
is
other
gonna
guys
be-
as well. That would be really fun if like loads of United Empire guys showed up as
That'd
well
be cool.
as well as Davis. That would be awesome.
Great O'Khan can stay home.
Let's go
Oh,
see TJ.
I also think while we're on this that we should probably wrap up anyway soon because we've gone for age. But I also think that Ricochet comes out. They think he's gonna make the save, and I think Ricochet's with Don Callis.
Oh, maybe.
I think that's how we.
The
add
more
a bit
it's been
more to the-
unraveling, the more
Yeah,
that.
Don Callis wants his new Will Ospreay, just like Takeshita was his new Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. But can I just say one thing that's slightly bothering me? Is that we don't know if this strap lumberjack match, whatever, is going to be on Dynamite or Collision yet. And I feel like if it's on Collision, then nothing interesting or surprising is going to happen because it's pre-recorded and everyone is going to spoil it before we see it.
I thought you were just going to say because nothing interesting or surprising happens on Collision, and I was going to agree.
But also that, yeah, but it's pre-recorded, so they never put anything. If an episode is pre-recorded, they don't have any surprises. They don't have any anything unusual going on. So it's like I'm really hoping they put that match on Dynamite and not Collision.
The thing is, as well, is like any typical episode of Dynamite usually has about 5 matches, typically, sometimes 6, if 2 of them are quite quick. That's usually how the show sort of flows. So right now, from memory, they've got Brian and Nigel, they've got Mox and Darby, they've got the tag titles, United Empire and the Bucks, and they've got Mariah and Yuka. So I think there is room to put Hangman and Jarrett on there as well. Whether they will or not, I don't know. I think we'll find out over the next day or so. Tony likes to keep people guessing. Oh, what? Sorry,
you're forgetting the trios match.
That's on. Isn't that on Collision?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, has that been confirmed?
So.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think we know.
It's the only one that's been confirmed for Collision. The trios.
Yeah,
and they've got Jamie and Soraya, but is on one of them. But I think that's on Collision as well.
Yeah.
I
because they're doing Rampage in Pennsylvania somewhere as well. So Rampage is going to have a completely different characters.
Yeah, Rampage they recorded after Collision this week.
It's going to be a time cop situation, isn't it? Again.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that's the thing. I just think if that match has to happen, then put it on Dynamite and don't pre-record it and put it on Collision. Just because, like I say, nothing. If it's pre-recorded, nothing surprising or interesting or good is going to happen. So put it on Dynamite.
Hopefully, Hook against Roddy is on Collision because that's just going to be. It'll be, Roddy's brilliant, but I just don't see anything Hook.
I can't. I would struggle to think of a match that would appeal to me less than a Hook versus Roddy.
It's just.
I love Roddy. I think Roddy's one of the best on the roster for me. But that's
he is,
just my opinion.
But Hook is just going to try. And
obviously, it's just my opinion that I don't like him. But yeah.
I said I feel like I'm the only Hook fan in the world. It's just me and Taz and MJ, apparently.
Well,
it's still more people than watch. It's still more people who are Hook fans in the UK than people who watch NXT in the UK. So take that.
Yeah.
I will be supporting Roddy Strong.
Yeah, that's why I love him. That's why. I mean, not only he's quality in the ring, but it's the yelling. It just tickles me every single time.
I hate it.
I don't know why he's doing it. I thought he should have stopped ages ago, but it's still funny.
No, but it's stuck. It was still for the whole Adam Cole thing when he was going.
I know. It got stale for me then.
Oh no, I love it. It's when he would just go he'd go Beast Mortos. It still gets me.
I thought after the devil reveal, he was going to turn around and go, "What, you think I'm fucking stupid? You think I really just shout people's first names?"
Literally, but no, yes, he does.
But no, but he just carried it on. It was weird.
The best thing that happened this week, actually, that's just reminded me, is the whole Frank Mortos thing.
Yeah, that was great.
I hope Tony sees me fucking tweet and gets fucking Adult Swim on the case. Give me a new Harvey Birdman with Frank Morton.
Did that fella end up drawing that, or what happened?
Yeah, some two fellas have ended up drawing it all, and the Outrunners have all liked it, and Mark Sterling liked it.
Ooh.
That's fucking beautiful.
But I can't comment anymore because I'm in jail.
You can't comment. You're in jail, yeah.
I need Frank Murtos to fucking get me out.
Are you out of jail?
Yeah. You need to contact Ra and partners and be like, look, state your case. Get me out of jail 4 days early. Come on, pull your strings. See what you can do.
Mark Sterling would have got me out by now.
I reckon he would have.
And thanks for joining us for another great episode of the Good Chat Wrestling Podcast. Thanks again to our guests for joining us this week. And why don't you plug your stuff?
Oh, go on then. I'll have a plug. You can find me at WrestleTrash on Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr, but I only really use Twitter, so probably there. Or you can buy some silly wrestling shirts from www.co-fi.WrestleTrash/shop. And if you use the code YEEHAW10, you'll get 10% off at the minute.
I like how you also didn't plug the podcast first.
You
can listen to Waffly Bollocks on any podcast app of your choice, and you can find us on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it today, at Waffly Bollocks. And you can follow me at Awfully Waffly.